Alright, so next I'm going to implement the pinned and unpinned functionalities into the list of these all nodes so that we can pin or unpin some items. So let's go back into the list item, and inside the li after the p I'm going to add some span, or I think I can copy this, just copy this and paste it here. So first one, let's add the push pin icon so that I can actually add the pinned. So I have this sidebar title note icon which I am going to change. So I'm going to change it to rs note list icon on, and obviously I need to add some css for that, but let's see. So as I save and just hit refresh, so when I hover over it I can see the icons. So if I copy this note list icon and just open the main.css, I think we have this note list icon which initially is display none, but when we hover over it we are going to show it as display block. So that is the css which is responsible for hiding and showing when we hover it over. So we have this icon, but obviously this will not do anything for now. And one thing is to be shown here is, so there should be two functionalities, one is pinned and unpinned. So that means whichever item is pinned, that needs to be unpinned, and whichever item is unpinned, that needs to be unpinned. So the icon should also be showing like vice versa, meaning that if this node 2 has the, it is already pinned, so there is no point to show the pinned icon, right? So that is also same into the all nodes. So if this node title 2 is already pinned, so I do not need to show the pinned icon, so I actually need to show the unpinned icon. So let's duplicate it, and the name for the unpinned icon, or I am going to use for the unpinned icon, is something like do not disturb on, so this kind of a thing. So now actually if I hit a refresh I can see both, but I do not want to see both, so I need to do some if else things. So conditionally I want to render it. So if, so first one is, if you see, first one is the do not disturb icon. So do not disturb icon will only show if it is pinned. So node dot pinned. So note, where is the note coming from? Note is inside the loop. So if that is pinned, only then we are going to show the unpinned icon. And for if it is not note dot pinned, then we will show the pin icon. So if I save and refresh it, so you can see this 2 is pinned. So right now I'm showing for unpinned, but this title 1 is not pinned, so that's why I'm showing the icon for pinned, right? Now the next thing we need is to add the functionalities. So first one is for the, let's add the functionalities for the pinned. So we can use the add click, right, where it is like this. Oh okay, so I need to put it here. So add click, so add click we are going to trigger a function. So that function I am going to create inside the node store. So that node store, obviously we need to access it, right? So let's say okay, so here we do not actually initialize the store as well. So let's initialize the store. So let's import use store, or use node store rather, node store from store node store, but I'm going to use the add, so that will redirect into the node store. Now we also need to use it. So we need to const and node store and use node store like this. So now what we can call here, we can call a node store, and probably I'm going to create a function which I am going to call marked as pinned, and also I need the ID because which data I need to alter, that needs to be known. So I'm passing the node ID, so this node is accessible like this. Just put a space here and we are passing the node ID. So now our next task is to create this marked as pinned function. So let's go back into the node store, and obviously it will be an action because we need to trigger the action and we need to manipulate the data. So let's create an action, and in action is also like the getters, so it will also have multiple things. So we can say marked as pinned, and this marked as pinned will manipulate or update the data, and we can grab the ID from here and it will be a function. So here let's add the const and let's take a update nodes, and remember from the action we can access this state with the this. So we need to if we want to access the state value from the action, we need to use this dot nodes, this dot something, let's say user this dot whatever the state's value or state key is. But inside the getter we are getting the state as a whole, so that we can use store dot something like store dot nodes or store dot something else. But here we need to use these dot nodes, then we can map it around and map it through all the items, right? And what we are going to have here, so we are going to check if id is equal to node.id. So if that is matched, which is passed through the marked as pinned, so we can say item dot pinned equal to true, right? So if the past value we found, then we'll make it true because we want to make it marked as pinned, and then we are going to return the item, right? And other than that, we are by default gonna return the item in any way. So I'm gonna return the item like so. And finally what we need to do is to update the nodes. So this nodes is equal to update nodes like this. All right, so now let's check it. Hit a refresh here, right? And you can see we have this 2 and 3 is as pinned. So if I click on this 4, it should be added, but it's not. Let me check. Okay, it's saying node is not defined, and I found the mistake. It should be item, not the node. So let's hit a refresh. Let's close this down, hit a refresh and try it again. So let's click on 4 and you can see that has been pinned. All right, so now let's add the alternate functions also. So let's add click, and let's say node store dot marked as unpinned, and also pass the node.id. So it will be a reverse functionalities, right? So marked as unpinned, let's copy this, go to the node store, and let's just duplicate it because it will, the functionalities will be very similar, and we'll have this update nodes as well. But when the id matches, we are just gonna return the false like so, and that's it. So let's hit a refresh again. Obviously the data is not persistent, so let's say we are trying to add this 4 as a pinned, and so now 2 3 4 are pinned, so you can see the icon. So now if I try to unpin it, so it is going out from here and the icon is also changed.